Welcome to the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 179. The first setup of the day was submitted by Mitch. It just seems very bare bones, if you will. It's a starter kit almost. There's a few things that he can add, a few things he could get rid of. I think the overall setup itself isn't awful. I think that it's a little hard with red walls like that, especially when you have like an American flag and the stripes kind of blend in and stuff, but it's just like a burgundy. It's a hard color to work with. You know, if that's the color he prefers, then go for it. But I think theme needs to be filled out on the walls a little bit more. We have the poster on the top right, but it's a little too high to really even be attributed to the setup's theme. The right side of the desk isn't really being used. Everything seems a little cramped towards that one corner. Not really my favorite thing in the world. The keyboard is half on the mouse pad. That's going to be annoying. Mitch scored a 66. The next setup of the day was submitted by Lucas. It's a nice idea. I'm a little confused as to why you threw yourself to the left side of the desk. You're so close to the piping, whether you say that's not an issue, whatever, your left leg is right up against it. So that's definitely not ideal. And you have so much room, just not great usability of the desk space. I gave him a terrible score for cable management. Not even because, like, you know, he took his science board from when he was in elementary school, the one that he used for his projects, and was like, I'll just cover up my cable management. He didn't even try. Yeah, my favorite ever computer design of all time. Looks absolutely stunning. I love it. But that is the weirdest piece of furniture I've ever seen to add to a setup like this. It doesn't really match. It just kind of looks out of place. You know, you have a random controller on top. Everything just seems to be in a weird spot. Lucas scored a 60. Next setup of the day was submitted by Poppy. You know, you look at the second photo and you can just tell there's a little bit too much cramped into one area, but not the end of the world. No mouse pad or anything like that. Third photo shows that we have the cables, literally everything shoved right behind the monitor. It's not really the worst setup in the world. She's only 13. But I do think a little too much going on. It's hard having the printer there and whatnot. Theme is a bit off. I would really honestly probably clear everything out and just kind of start from scratch. Do you use this on a daily basis? If so, put it in a spot where it can be used daily. Otherwise, I think it needs to be placed elsewhere. Poppy scored a 62. The next setup was submitted by Thomas. Bezels thicker than your mom. Anyways, this setup, I think out of sight, out of mind needs to be put into place here just a little bit more. It's definitely lacking theme. You know, you have the Game of Thrones thing, and having that poster there kind of left me like, oh, I'm going to see more Game of Thrones in this setup, but that was it. Thomas scored a 64. The next setup was submitted by Vinny. Now, obviously, things like cable management are garbage here. We're just seeing this. It's like almost like water, the ocean just flowing, the waves just chilling on the floor. Having the PC where it's at, the PC placement is awful. That's exactly where your feet are going to be. You have room for the PC to go to the right side of the desk. Why isn't it there? If anything, it could even go where the printer is on an angle. Yes, you have the leg there, but at least it would be in a different spot. You need something for the games anyway. Maybe something to go to the left side where the chair is, one of those freestanding spinning carousels for the games. That would look nice. Show off the Halo thing a little bit more. Vinny scored a 60. The next setup was submitted by Chris. You know, he did have to make a little bit of a modification to get his monitors at the right height, and that piece of board actually extends past the desk, so a little bit of trim would have looked nice there. The speakers, you know, I think this is where having triple monitors hurt, because, you know, they're very close together. You're not really getting the right sound. Plus, I just feel for his computer. It's just, if you go on the next photo, it's just there in the corner. Like, it's just like being killed. Slow death. Chris scored a 74. The next setup was submitted by Joshua. Cable is not great. Yeah, sure, the usability isn't awful. The left side looks crazy. There's no theme.
He's working with what furniture he has and all that. I feel like having a new desk to be able to put your Xbox One on and, you know, have storage and all that, so you'd be able to just have one piece of furniture to house all the stuff that you need.
Joshua scored a 62. The next setup was submitted by Duncan. I mean, it just screams sexy. It kind of gives off a theme. It looks good. It's a nice setup, and it's such a different setup from the rest of them today. Category by category, usability's got to be super easy sitting there. You got the speakers in a great spot. His computer is reachable, easy to use. Headphone stand off to the left. You know, keyboard, mouse, enough space, breathing room. It's just great. Looking at the next photo, wire management, a little bit odd how it goes in and like it's all twisted and stuff, but it is in the specific slot made for cable management on this desk. Taking a look at the first photo again, accessories. He has everything you could possibly need for a setup like this. Theme, I mean, right up there. Look at that. He's got a little bit of pop vinyls, a little bit of books. Duncan scored a 94. The vinyl set of the day was submitted by Dennis. You remember Dennis, he's 19. He was on episode 169, which is only 10 episodes ago. And he was actually featured as one of the worst setups for 2016 for obvious reasons. I mean, because really, I said it all along, his accessories was cool. It was just too much going on. His cable management was awful. Moving on to the next photo. Now the cable management under the desk and really all over the setup is better. Going back to the first photo, you can kind of just see the amount of things crowded together. And I feel like when you go to the next photo, it does feel a little bit more empty, a little bit more breathable. It's just the amount of boxes, it's the amount of things, having the rear speakers where they're at. I don't really think it's like having the whole 5.1, I don't think it's life changing. Having the monitors split because you have the microphone coming through. I mean, it's not awful, but I just think it could look better. You're obviously willing to get things fixed. I think what you need to do is quite literally take everything out and move the desk away, completely vacuum, maybe even paint the walls while you're at it. It looks like that's wallpaper though. Then a complete throw out of empty boxes, things you don't need, and really prioritizing what needs to be on the desk. Out of sight, out of mind is not about having nothing on the desk, and it's not about having a lot on the desk. It's about only having on the desk things that you use on a daily basis. Dennis scored a 68. Duncan walked away with first place with his 94. Thanks for watching the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 179.